Hello, my name's Vicky and I'm currently a final year human biologist at Loughborough University, and today I'm going to be taking you through your question about cystic fibrosis and genetic inheritance in the biology study boost. So the background to the question states that cystic fibrosis is a genetic disorder caused by a recessive allele. A couple have a baby boy and the doctor tells them that the baby has inherited cystic fibrosis, however neither parent shows signs of the disorder. They want you to construct a diagram to show how the baby inherited cystic fibrosis. The diagram should show the genotypes of both parents, the genotypes of their gametes, and all of the possible genotypes of their offspring. They want you to use the capital letter F to represent the dominant allele and the lowercase letter f to represent the recessive allele. The question is worth 3 marks. So first off, I've highlighted everything in purple, which is important to help guide through the answers. So firstly, it's important that you understand what a recessive disorder is. So a recessive disorder is caused by recessive alleles, and you must have 2 of them. One must be inherited from your mother and one must be inherited from your father, as that is the simple rules of genetics and inheritance, that you receive 1 allele from your mother and 1 allele from your father. The next thing that is important to know is that the baby inherited cystic fibrosis, but the parents did not show signs of the disorder. So this must mean that both of the parents carry the recessive allele. This is because the mother must pass on the lowercase letter f to the child, as well as the father must pass on the lowercase letter f to the child, as shown here. This is because the child inherited cystic fibrosis, and cystic fibrosis is caused by the recessive allele, and in this case that is the lowercase letter f. The next thing to highlight is that they want you to show the genotypes of both parents, their gametes, and all of the possible genotypes of the offspring. So genotypes of the gametes are these alleles. So the genotype of the gamete of the mother is capital letter F and lowercase f, and of the father is capital letter F and lowercase f. So these are their sex cells, gametes, which they are passing on to the child during fertilisation. They then want you to consider all of the possible genotypes of their offspring. So this is all the other children that they could have. So as you can see here, this is just the option of child 1, but they may decide to have more children. Just because child 1 has cystic fibrosis doesn't necessarily mean that all the other children they may have might have cystic fibrosis too. What other possible combinations could you get from capital letter F and lowercase f from the mother and the same gamete from the father? Can you think of any? Well, here's one for you. Both the mother and the father carry a dominant allele of a capital letter F. Therefore, they have both come from one from the mother and one from the father to child 2, producing a dominant allele of 2 capital letter Fs in child 2. So what does this mean for child 2? Are they going to show cystic fibrosis or not? Well, as I stated earlier, you have to have 2 recessive allele, lowercase letter f's, to show cystic fibrosis. So in this case, the child doesn't. The child only has 2 dominant alleles, so that means they are safe from cystic fibrosis. What is the last combination that the mother and father could possibly produce in their offspring? So, they could possibly produce a capital letter F from the mother, for example, and the lowercase letter f from the father, or the lowercase from the mother and the capital from the father. It can come from either way round, so that means you can actually get 2 of them. So you'll have a child 4, which has a lowercase and an uppercase. So they have a possibility of 4 children. They could have more children, but let's just keep it simple and say they're having 4. It doesn't matter how many more children they have, all of them will have any types of these allele combinations. So now what you need to do is construct this into a diagram that includes child 4, and it's also similar to the diagram seen in question C. If you look at the diagram that they show later on, it will help you have an understanding of how genetic diagrams are presented. I hope this helps. So question A part 2 follows on from the last question and therefore has the same background. They want to know if the baby is homozygous or heterozygous for cystic fibrosis, and they want you to explain your answer. So firstly, it's important to note what is homozygous and what is heterozygous. What do these words mean? Any ideas? Well, homozygous is when the child carries 2 of the same alleles. So, for example, 2 lowercase f's. And heterozygous is when they carry two different alleles, for example, an A and a B, for example. So in our case, what allele combination did the child have? So they had an allele combination of lowercase f, lowercase f. So now you see what homozygous and what heterozygous means. Does it help you answer your question? So this question follows on, and it states that the doctor tells the parents that if they have another child, the fetus can be tested to see if it will have cystic fibrosis. They want you to state the probability that the couple's next baby will have cystic fibrosis. So following on from question A, you should have constructed a diagram that looks something similar to this, but with more genetic diagram properties. However, this makes it simple to view to answer this question. So here we see that they have 4 different possible combinations of their alleles, therefore producing 4 possible combinations of different children. They could go on to have more, but these are the only combinations of alleles that all of their children could have. So, if we count all of these childs at different probabilities, probabilities are usually presented in percentages. So therefore, each child would add up to 100%. Okay? That means that each child's combination of alleles, there is a 25% chance of having a child with that combination. So it's seen here. So there's a 25% chance of having a child with a capital letter F and a capital letter F, as follows. Now, as you can see, child 3 and child 4 have the same combination. So therefore, you can add those together. So there's a 50% chance of a child having a capital letter F and a lowercase letter f. But there's still only a 25% chance of them having a capital letter F and a capital letter F, and a 25% chance of them having a lowercase f and a lowercase f, as seen on this diagram. So this should help you answer this question now, and you should be able to state the probability that the couple's next baby will have cystic fibrosis if you remember that cystic fibrosis is caused by 2 recessive alleles, which in this case is represented by 2 little f's.